So obviously most of you know me. I'm Danielle McCallie, the Director for the Department on Aging, and very proud to welcome you to our vibrant senior center today for a very special program. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Neary and Keep Middlesex Moving for taking the opportunity to come out today to provide us with some much needed information on pedestrian safety. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Neary. Thank you.
For all you people in the cheap seats, if you want to move up a little closer, you'll be able to see the video we're going to be showing. But I'm glad you can hear me. It's nice to be back in the East Brunswick Senior Center. It's one of my favorite places to come. I'm glad to see our business administrator, Joe Crisculo, is back there. Joe, thank you for joining us. With me is also our rideshare coordinator, Arlene Holt, another East Brunswick resident. I live in East Brunswick also, for those who don't know. And those who haven't met me before, I've been in this building many, many times for many, many reasons over the past several years. What we're talking about today is something that may be more critical in East Brunswick than people thought about over the past couple of years. Pedestrian safety. Times have changed, traffic has changed, people have changed. Pedestrian safety is a major issue in the country and even in New Jersey. Last year, 220 pedestrians were fatally struck on the roads in New Jersey. 6,513 people were killed in America in pedestrian crashes. 25% of fatal accidents, we don't call them accidents more, we call them crashes, because most of them are not accidents. 25% of fatal crashes occurred to pedestrians. We all think about the 38,000 people who maybe got killed in car crashes, but we don't think about the 6,000 people who got killed along the highways and the shopping centers, back roads, small streets. I mean, remember, you can live in a quiet neighborhood and the speed limit is 25, but we all know that 25-mile limit on your quiet street is imaginary, just like a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on the turnpike is. Somebody going 45 on a neighborhood street is just as dangerous as somebody going 70 miles an hour on Route 18. And we all have to be aware of the fact is, pedestrians aren't people just going out for a little walk in the park. Pedestrians aren't people doing something for exercise only and getting a little exercise. When you get out of your vehicle, you are a pedestrian. Just think about, you are a pedestrian almost every single day. And it happens, crashes occur every single day. Of the 220 who died, I don't even have the statistic of how many were injured. But we do know that higher speeds create greater danger and greater injuries. It's pretty obvious when you say that logically, but when you think about it, what's happened in this area, and especially in New Jersey, is during COVID, we noticed that there was so much fewer cars on the road. With fewer cars on the road, there was no reduction in fatal crashes. Which is, when you think about it statistically, it doesn't seem to make sense, except the fact is, the crashes we had were a result of people going faster. And I think people going faster has become a way of life even more than it ever was in our area. Faster is the way things are. And the transportation world we're living in right now, I'm with the transportation. I should say a little bit about my company, maybe first. Keep Middlesex Moving is a nonprofit transportation management association. Our mission and our goals is to reduce traffic congestion by improving air quality and reducing the number of single occupant vehicles on the road. We have a variety of different programs for transportation beyond driving a car. Just yesterday, we were at Middlesex College. We're providing free bus tickets to students who want to take a bus to college instead of taking a car. We have programs where we teach our kids how to walk to school safely. It's a Safe Route to School program. East Brunswick Public Schools, the 8 public schools, all participate. We have bike rodeos. We teach kids a safe way to walk to school. Most of your pedestrian rules are the same as they've been since all of us who remember crossing the green, not in between. We all know pedestrian safety, but we've all slowed down and we've all relaxed some of the things we thought about in the past. We've moved slower. Some of us are taking medicine to move us down even slower. Our vision's not the same. Things happen, which is why disproportionately the senior population and those under 10 are the highest percentage of people getting killed by car crashes. So I have this video we're going to be showing you. It's only about 12 minutes long. The video is basically a spoof of a late-night talk show. We call it the Jay Walker Show. Okay, it tells you basic pedestrian safety rules, which I'm sure everybody knows, but not everybody remembers, or not everybody thinks about when they're out walking. So think about that when you're walking, when you're getting out of your car. Right now, when I go to shop right here in Spotswood, or the one on Mid-State Mall, the stop for pedestrian signs are pretty obvious, and people are stopping for pedestrians. But I've also noticed over the last couple of years, as that worked so well, pedestrians no longer look for cars. They just walk right in front of the cars. So there's pedestrians, we can always blame the cars for causing the crashes, but it's pedestrians who just come out with their shopping carts and walk right in front of you. They know you're going to stop. I know I'm going to stop. I don't know about the guy knows I'm going to stop him behind me. I'm not so sure what's going to happen. So you have to always be aware of what's happening around you. That's a key important part. When the video's over, we have a little gift for you. Arlene, do you think we should sell them for $10 or just give them away? What do you think? They're little blinking lights you clip on your things. You put that on when you're walking so people can see you. Danielle, I'll let you show this video and then we can answer any questions you have or any things you want to talk about.
Welcome to the Jay Walker Show. Tonight's guest is the star of America's favorite soap opera, Daybreak, Meryl Streep. Good evening, good evening. Have we got a great show lined up for you tonight? My first guest is America's favorite mom, the irrepressible Meryl Streep. Say hello to Meryl. Meryl, I know you've been on a roll, but what's this, a wheelchair?
I had a little car accident. Didn't you hear? My publicist said this was in the papers. I'll have to talk to her about that. Well, anyway, Niles, my driver, he couldn't find a parking space. So I decided, since it's not a red carpet day, I'd get out of the car, cross the street, and go over to the building that I had to go to. What happened was I got out of the car, started to cross, and bang! There I was lying down on the floor with my leg broken. Thank goodness that's all that broke.
Did the driver know it was you?
Unfortunately, not right away. But when he got out of the car, he saw it was me.
What happened? Was the guy starstruck? Wasn't he paying attention?
I don't know. I thought that cars were supposed to stop when they saw people walking in the street. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought the pedestrians always had the right of way.
But apparently it doesn't work that way. And pedestrians have to be just as vigil as a driver of a car. So I had to take the consequences of having a leg broken. And I'm glad that's all that broke because, you know, at this age, I shouldn't say that, but we don't heal as quickly as the younger people do.
And what age is that?
Nice try.
I don't know how old you are, but you certainly don't look it.
Thank
I had
you.
to try.
Thank you. You look well, too. I'm on a mission now to teach people how to be good pedestrians. Their safety rules are very, very important. Now, how about putting your wrist out for me?
Ow! What's this?
What do you think it is?
So, do you want to share some of these rules with us?
Darling, I'm a celebrity. I have people.
People who have people are the luckiest people in the world. You have people?
My dear, don't you? Well, I brought along Sergeant Mark Sizemore to help us learn about pedestrian safety. Can we bring him up here?
Yeah, sure we can. But first we have to take a break. We'll be right back, folks.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Hold
Yeah.
Put Puddles on the line. Yes, I know he's a dog. Puddles, you're going outside with Jennifer to do your business, right by your favorite bush.
Brittany, time travel is totally possible. The fabric of time is interwoven.
Some people choose unlimited calling, others choose unlimited texting. But there's one thing not included in any calling plan. The common sense not to talk or text while you drive.
Talking and texting while driving isn't worth the risk. Check out distraction.gov.
Welcome back to the show. Tonight we're talking with America's favorite soap star, Meryl Streep, and her special guest, Police Officer Mark Sizemore. Come on in, Officer Mark. May I call you Mark?
Of course. Nice to meet you, Jay.
Nice to meet you.
Hi,
Hello,
thank you
dear.
for coming, Mark.
You're welcome.
Mark, so you're one of Meryl's people?
Well, Jay, actually I work for the town, but tonight I'm proud to be one of Meryl's people, and I'm proud of her.
Mark was the first officer on the scene of the crime, so to speak. And he was just wonderful. He visited me in the hospital, and he taught me a lot of new pedestrian safety rules.
So Mark, what do we have to know about pedestrian safety?
Whether we're in a car, or we're riding a bike, or taking a train or a bus.
Or ride in a limo.
Yes, or ride in a limo. At some time during the day,
Yes.
we're all pedestrians.
Yes.
And as a pedestrian, we have to be smart. And being a smart pedestrian is a two-way street. Both the drivers and the pedestrians need to act responsibly.
So what happened to the pedestrian has the right of way?
Well, Jay, a pedestrian does have the right of way, but under certain circumstances. Let's take a marked crosswalk, for example. We can look at that as the pedestrian's safety zone. Even if a pedestrian has to work a little bit further up the block, that's where they should cross. They should never cross in between parked cars or in the middle of the street. Now, New Jersey has just passed a new law, and the law states that drivers must stop and remain stopped for all pedestrians in a marked crosswalk. If they disobey the law, they can face fines, points on their license, or community service. But pedestrians also need to obey the law, or they can face some of the same penalties.
So that's it. Cross at a marked intersection or a crossing signal, and you'll be safe.
No, Jay, there's more.
There's lots more to it, Jay. Would you like to make a list, dear? Go ahead, Mom.
Sure. Even though there was a marked intersection about 10 yards away, Meryl just stepped out of the car and crossed the street. She didn't look left, right, left. And in fact, she didn't look at all because she was talking on her cell phone.
Meryl, how could you?
I am so embarrassed, Jay. But a girl has to keep in touch.
Meryl made two mistakes. She crossed in the middle of the block, and she wasn't paying attention. And even when a pedestrian is in the middle of a marked crosswalk, they need to be aware of what's going on. They need to put away their cell phones, turn off their Blackberries, and shut off their iPod. Here are some basic rules to follow when you're crossing the street. You should always use a designated corner or marked crosswalk. Even if there's a pedestrian signal, wait for a fresh one before you start into the street. When you come up to the curb, stop, look left, right, left, and then proceed into the roadway. And make sure you make eye contact with the driver. And maintain eye contact as you're crossing by, and even maybe give a courteous wave to thank the driver for letting you walk.
Well, Meryl, this has been very enlightening. But now we're going to go on.
Not yet. Not so fast, Jay. We haven't even talked about visibility and backing up yet.
Meryl's right. You can get into an accident in a parking lot or a driveway just as easily as you can on the street. And here's a couple tips when you're in a parking lot. Try to walk in front of a parked car, not behind if possible. Listen for the cars that start up and look for their backing lights. When you're walking through the parking lot, look for all moving cars. And when you come across a driveway, treat it as you would any intersection. Stop and look before you cross.
Now it's my favorite part. Fashion tips for pedestrians.
It's very important that pedestrians be seen, especially at dusk, at night, and during the winter months.
The winter months? That's cool. Why is that?
Oh, I know that answer. In the wintertime, it gets dark very early, right? We wear darker clothes, so we have to be more of alert. I'd like you to remember the 3 B's. Be bright, be seen, and be safe. And right here I have my fashion tips for when you're out walking. Morteza and Sandra, please come out wearing bright green ensembles. And it really makes it worthwhile because people can see you. Esther and Lydia, wearing a canary yellow shirt. What could be more beautiful than canary yellow? And Lydia is wearing a pink jacket. So the colors are really bright, they make you feel good, and they look good. Fidelis and Ernestina wearing a salmon colored jacket, and Ernestina is wearing a black coat with a beautiful scarf, making her look exotic. All of these things that these ladies are wearing, and thank you, and the gentlemen, thank you very much. You did a great job. All of these outfits are very, very appropriate for walking. But should you be walking in the evening, in the dark, or even dusk, you should be wearing a night reflector, such as Jay is showing you now. It's very important. You don't want the same thing that happened to me to happen to you. So just remember, at night, wear a reflector on your clothing. During the day, wear bright colors. And remember, be bright, be seen, and be safe. Thank you very much for listening to this report on safety. Mark, have I missed anything, dear?
No, you did just fine.
Thank you.
Well, this certainly has been a very enlightening show. I've learned a lot myself. Let's recap quickly.
Pay attention, turn off all mobile devices, wear hearing aids and glasses if needed, walk on the sidewalk, wear bright colors or reflective clothing, cross only at intersections or crosswalks, look left, right, and left again, wait for fresh green or walking signals, make eye contact with the driver, pay attention.
By the way, folks, Merrill over here has provided everyone in the studio audience with a reflective armband. And next month, Merrill will be starring in a brand new Broadway play. Break a leg, Merrill.
Not again.
The other leg. And special thanks to Officer Mark Sismore over here for being very informative. Thank you very much, Mark.
And thank you, Jay.
And a special thanks to all of you out there for watching. Stay alert, safe walking, and good night.
Before I answer any questions, I'll give you a little background on this video. Obviously, it was made several years ago. And the officer's name is not Sismore, it's Sismar. He retired from East Brunswick Police and Lieutenant Sismar. He's now a member of the East Brunswick Board of Education. So Mark is one of our stars here. Frank Takis is a retired school teacher who lived in East Brunswick up until a year ago. He volunteered. This was filmed at Playhouse 22 Community Theater. Okay, if you really look what that desk looked like, you'd be amazed what a piece of junk it is, okay? And the audience consisted of the seniors from North Brunswick. So it was the audience was about, how many people, Arlene? 12 people? But we made it look like a lot more than that. It was a lot of fun. I guess about a 13-minute video. It took us 8 hours to do, okay? The script was never followed exactly, and the film had to be stopped and started a million different times. So I know what it's like to make a movie for the first time. Enough to know I'm never going to do it again. But it was an interesting experience, and we've gotten a lot of use out of this video over the years. I would imagine this video has been shown hundreds of times. It's been on YouTube and all those other social media type of stuff, so we know it's been seen around the country. So it's really caught on somewhat, and our little company that we have has done something with this that's a little different. The state uses it for different things. The TMAs, the other organizations like ours in the state have used it, and now we're using it here in East Brunswick. We're happy to use that. I'm here to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
I had an experience a while ago on Tyson's Lane going across the street from the ShopRite. I had the right of way, and looked both ways in the car. And I slowed down to the light and everything, covered the crosswalk. And I was trying to tell him to move back like that so I could pass for the next light. He just turned around, picked up his phone, we kept on talking, and the light changed, and I had to wait another time. The light never changes right, it changes too quickly. Sometimes it doesn't change at all. And over here on Egger Street, it takes forever for that light, the cars and stuff. I have to go over the Passover Bridge, and it's hard when you have a cane, you have to climb 2 flights of stairs up and down for bags, or even just using your cane. And I believe these traffic lights should be fixed over there and the ones on the ShopRite, you should have some kind of moderation where people shouldn't go over crosswalks.
Well, you bring up an interesting question, though, because it is the roads belong to everyone, but they also have the timing on the lights on Route 18, mostly for the green on Route 18, to keep that traffic moving. And obviously, with the traffic that they have there, they have to do that. You can't be backed up forever. There is a pedestrian crosswalk there at Eggers, but that's not the most ADA compliant. You have to walk up those steps to do that. So I know there's issues like that there along, anytime you have to cross the highway. Even Tice's Lane, which is now the 4-lane road, is also very busy. So I'm glad nothing happened to you seriously. I'm sorry, there should be rules against rudeness, but.
Well, almost it happened because he was just about to move up and I quickly like that because he looked down, then he looked up and he picked up his phone and someone telling him he's on the crosswalk to back out like that. Then all of a sudden I heard him revving the motor and I quickly hopped back on the sidewalk because I was afraid light was getting changed and I was going to get hit.
Well, KMM, Keep Middlesex Moving, has a distracted driving program. And we started it for high school seniors, basically, juniors, young drivers to teach them. And of course, I think the goal originally was because all the young people were texting and driving. That was the big deal. But of course, we learned over time, it's terrible to blame young people. Everybody is texting and driving. And it's a serious issue. I mean, distractions aren't just, our distracted driving program doesn't just talk about your phones being a distraction. Eating is a distraction, changing the radio is a distraction. For my case, my most distracted driving is when I had to drive in the car with my mother, okay? So distractions are distractions, and something to be aware of when you're driving. Joe, you look like you have something you want to say or no?
No, I'd like to thank some members of our police department that are here. Certainly they're willing to answer any questions that they have. And just one more thing, this program came about. I'd like to thank Bill and Keep Middlesex Moving in conjunction with our police department. Mayor Cohen said, hey, we're having these incidents. Could we get people to come out and discuss the topic? And I don't know if Officer Smith and, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Officer Welch is here if they want to come up and say anything, how they can support you or answer any questions that may be more law specific. And your question about Route 18, as you know, we have a 4 to 5 year project going on there where all the lights are going to be better synchronized than everything else. And there's a new water line going in there. That's been a project since I was in high school in 1970. That's been going on. So we like to appreciate, our Assemblyman Sterling Stanley was instrumental in getting that funding completed and that going on. So hopefully that will help, and I didn't know if our officers, who certainly, you could see Officer Smith has their, if you wouldn't mind showing them, look at that reflective shirt he's got. Yeah. So you're going out at night or any time, reflection is very important. I'd like to, I got to run to another meeting. I'd like to thank Keep Middlesex Moving for coming. The handouts that they gave you, I know Bill in the past has given me arm bracelets for people that we supply here. Keep Middlesex Moving, a great partner in Middlesex County, help us on these things, and naturally our police department here. So I hope the program was effective. Mayor Cohen had to be down in Trenton today. He sends his best to you and is happy this program is going on. It is going to be rebroadcast on EBTV. They'll dub in the video, I'm sure, nicely so everybody can see it. And if there's any questions for our police officer, and always a big thank you for our police department for keeping us safe in our community. So thank you very much.
If you guys have any questions, we'll try to answer them. This is Officer Welsh. He works in special operations, which handles traffic accidents and all of that. And I'm with the community policing unit. My name's Officer Smith. Yes, sir.
Starting out the presentation, I heard that speed is the issue, or going fast. What's East Brunswick Police Department's approach to trying to reduce the speed, if at all? And what about on residential streets? I know everybody's speeding down streets, residential streets. And I know you only have so many officers and it's a big township. So
No, we do a lot of targeted enforcement, and we try to hit the special operations especially tries to hit all the side streets, especially where we know which ones are heavily, that people travel in excessive speeds on certain roads. So our patrol division also is always doing radar enforcement, laser enforcement, and we do the best we can.
Can you request that in your neighborhood?
You can request it, but remember, it might not happen right away, but it will eventually, they'll get out there.
If you go on the township page, you go to the traffic safety division, you can make a formal complaint and it comes right to our office. And then we have like a running log, like a list of what neighborhoods to hit the guys in the traffic division. So we'll go to neighborhood. Ones get complained about more than others.
I'll also tell you, right across the street in the courthouse here, it's used frequently. It's filled 3 times, 4 times a week with people who are there with their violations for going too fast. So the police are out there doing their job, but at the same time, the worst way to try to catch a speeder is to be out there with the police car. Because the minute they see it, they don't speed anymore. And it's a difficult challenge because it can't be every place at one time, and they do a great job doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
What do street lights for pedestrian crossings? How does one get selected to have the numbers, right, for all the ADA, for sound beeping, or the numbers 20, or how many seconds is it?
It's all set by the state guidelines. So, what do you know exactly the timers are?
I don't know the exact timers of the town, but they come out and they do like research on each town. I do know if you go to a light and the hand indicator is up and you wait for it to switch to walk, the time is shorter than if you actually push the button to activate it. So you have to push the button to activate it, then wait for the walk, and it gives you a longer duration of time to walk than just standing there waiting at the light for it to switch. And that's a big problem we see. We'll see people walking across the light and it didn't give them enough time because they didn't activate the walk, button to go.
Do the and the highway lights are cycled at a longer time frame, correct, than the county roads and the
Yes.
and the municipality. So you got to remember that.
County roads, they do their own thing. Cranberry Road, there's a complaint, we send it out to the county for each specific light. And same thing with the state. And then if it's a municipality road, we'll go out and do our own traffic, like census basically. But an outside source would do that.
So numerically, would there ever be a countdown?
Would there ever be a town? I couldn't give you an answer on that. If there would, there are some.
The newer ones, yes.
The newer ones are. All I know for sure is that if you don't push the button, there's going to be a shorter time to walk. So it's important to make sure you go and push the button.
And a lot of them talk now, so they'll tell you, wait. So, and I would always recommend if it doesn't talk and you see the hand that's blinking, don't cross. Wait till it recycles and you get a green arrow that you can actually cross on. Okay, because that means it's coming to an end.
Because a lot of the lights also, you'll have a red light like on Cranberry Road, it'll still say, don't walk. Now I see pedestrians all the time walk because they have the red light, but people are making a right out of Civic Center where I see people coming across, and it happens often. So you just gotta wait till it changes over.
And remember at night, even there, you may have the green, but somebody may be turning into that intersection, they can't see you. So it's very important to wear clothing where it helps a driver see you, okay? And just watch, always have your head on a swivel, okay?
This lady has a question over here.
Yes, so I live by Route 18 and Edgar Street. And when I cross the Route 18, they give you a really short time to cross the street, And thank God I can walk fast, but I saw a few weeks ago a gentleman crossing, with a cane, they almost, got hit with a car because there is an overpass there, but people with the cane is hard for them.
Not going to get up the steps.
They have to go a lot of steps up and then down. So who can I contact? Who can I ask to prolong the?
So you could, again, make a complaint into our department through the traffic safety. There's like a drop-down box. Once you go onto the township website, you pick the police department. I don't remember exactly how you get to it, and then it's like traffic safety, and then you can make a complaint. And the best way to do it is make a formal complaint, because then not only myself, my sergeant, my lieutenant, I'm not sure exactly if it goes to the county and the state, but it comes to us, and then we can make those arrangements to, you know, reach out to the proper people.
Because that is a state highway. That makes it a little bit more complicated, because the state controls those lights.
And if you don't have a computer, you can always call. Okay, there's phone numbers. You can ask to speak to special operations. Okay.
Lady in the grandstand back there has a question, right?
So I live on Dunham's Corner Road, which is very, very busy. In the morning, it's so hard to come out of my driveway because the cars are going so fast. But I do have to say that the East Brunswick police, they have 2 patrol cars parked, which is very helpful because cars tend to slow down when they see patrol cars. So I'm really appreciative of that. And I know that my Jewish neighbors who, you know, go to the temple to worship on Friday nights and Saturday, there's a East Brunswick officer that stands at the corner helping, you know, the pedestrians to be able to cross safely. So that's wonderful. And also on Dunham's Corner Road, there's that machine that monitors your speed. So I'm grateful for that being there, because that also helps, you know, the cars to decrease their speed. So thank you.
My question is not about police related, but it's more, I'm a pedestrian for recreation. I recently retired as an educator in East Brunswick, and I love to walk. Between 30 and 60 miles a month is my goal. I walk back streets generally, but I live on Milltown Road, so I have to get there. So I walk on my neighbor's front lawn, go down farms, and wander about all over the place. The cautionary tale is, as a pedestrian, I want to stay on the sidewalks, the fourth point on the summary of this video, but the sidewalks are super dangerous. While they've put in beautiful ramps to accommodate wheelchairs and walkers and things like that, even the texture for a blind person to manage. From here to that door away from that ramp may be a heave this big from a maple tree that was built on the curb. I'm wondering if the township does anything for when developers develop new communities in our town, which is a lot of right now, if they are aware that there are certain trees that are lateral roots and they should never be put by a sidewalk, and there's others that are beautiful trees that could be planted and keep us looking like a nice tree city, but not endanger us when we're out walking. On October 12th, I fell. I have a deviated septum. I broke my tooth. I fell on the sidewalk. Jogging, you know, it was just, it's dangerous out there.
Well, let me answer your questions, because they're good ones. From the 2 hats that I could wear. I could wear the former mayor's hat. We had a program when I was still the mayor about fixing those sidewalks. At the time, we divided the town into 4 quarters, right? And asked all the residents there if they want to have their uplifted sidewalks fixed, okay? People bid on that, they did that, went out for bids, got the whole work done. Miles of sidewalks were redone that way. And when trees had to come down because of the root structure, they were replaced with the trees you're talking about, where the roots go down. And at that time, there was a technology called root guard technology, which is an 18-foot cylinder that would go down with the tree, so the roots would never come back up. They'd grow that way. So that program was done years ago, but it really did make a lot of sidewalks safer. But we have 174 miles of roads in East Brunswick, okay? My street doesn't have any sidewalks at all. The ones that do have sidewalks, there's still many, many trees like that. My second part of the question goes to my Keep Middlesex Moving answer. We also have miles of trails in East Brunswick that are off the beaten path, off the roads. I mean, our parks, Welsh Park, Great Oak Park, even Dallenbach Park behind the lake, they have, some of them are paved, some are not paved, but there's no traffic on them at all. You could walk for miles. You could walk around the municipal pond here. 4 times around the pond is a mile. So there's different places to walk beyond the roads. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. You have to maybe drive to a place and then walk, but that's one thing for safety you can do if you really want to get the exercise while you're walking. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, I manage that too, but
Good.
I diversify.
Well, I love Dallenbach, okay, because nobody's ever back there. It's not paved, it's just a trail, the nature trail back there. I'd say I love it, but my dog loves it even more. He goes crazy when we drive in that parking lot. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I live in the President's area, and the first thing I want to say is I want to give kudos to the officers who come up and down our streets all the time. They really are great. They pay attention to what's going on in our neighborhood. The problem that I have is there are no sidewalks there, and the people who lived there 40, 50 years ago still live there now. Our older people, they like to get out and walk. They can't walk in the streets because of the traffic that goes up and down, and with the new developments that are, we have a lot more traffic than we ever thought was ever going to be. And again, I want to give kudos to the officers who do come up and down our streets to check it out. But what do? Can we get sidewalks there to make it safer? There's kids that go walk every morning to the buses. They walk to Bound Monroe. There's a lot of stuff.
I would say you could ask the mayor and the council for that, but I would also tell you, putting sidewalks in is a heavy lift, not only because of financially, because the trees have to be removed, the yards are being disturbed. You put sidewalks in, all of a sudden the people who are complaining about walking the street don't want to shovel sidewalks either. So you run into issues, okay? It becomes much more complicated than saying it's a good idea, which it is. I mean, we have an ordinance in East Brunswick that every new construction requires sidewalks. All construction. And so we get sidewalks put in all new construction. The older homes like that, I mean, you're not only complicating with the narrow streets. Those houses were built to have one car in the driveway. Now everybody has 3 cars on the street. It makes it even more dangerous. So I understand. And the development you're talking about on Main Street there has increased the traffic, but the real traffic increase in East Brunswick, what I can see, is coming from places like Monroe, where the real growth is. I mean, Bordentown Avenue, Main Street is packed with cars anymore. At night, Old Stage Road coming back.
We can't even get onto it.
No.
We can't get out of our street to go either way on Old Stage Road.
Why
And it's
am I
going to
missing
get
out?
worse than when the people move into that new development across the street from the ShopRite.
Do you know where Mason Avenue is? It's off of Summerhill, that's where I live. I do not turn left on the Summerhill in the morning. It's impossible. And I've lived there 42 years, so I know what you're talking about. But like I said, it's not necessarily East Brunswick's growth. It's the south of here that's really where the growth is.
everywhere.
It's everywhere growth. I mean, for all of us who are old timers around here, I never heard of Manalapan until I was in high school, okay? And now, and Monroe wasn't Monroe Township, it was Jamesburg. So that's what's happening in this whole region. It's not just, don't blame the town for individual, it's the region of Middlesex County in general and New Jersey especially.
Yeah, especially Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean. It's just experiencing tremendous growth. So, you know.
It just makes it scary for
Yeah, it is.
seniors to go out. In our neighborhood, there's a lot of seniors.
Which is
And it
why
makes
we
it
do these
scary for them
programs,
to
I
go
know.
out and walk on the street. Some of them don't drive anymore, so they walk up and down. I mean, we have a lot of people who just walk up and down the street all day long. And you can see that they're, constantly turning around to make sure cars aren't coming at them.
No, I run, I walk a lot. I'll be honest, I try to not walk on the roads. And if I'm walking, I try to use the sidewalks, but you're right, there's lips everywhere where there's a sidewalk because the trees just lift it. Or frost, the freeze temperature, sometimes it'll lift. But you guys got to be very careful. There's no way we can avoid or control, the amount of growth in New Jersey. So the best advice I give you is just be very careful. And just wear bright clothing the best you can. Yes, ma'am.
I live on Merle Avenue, which is a one-way street halfway down the block. I know the police are aware of that, but a lot of people here. And we have all the high school traffic, plus the children walking in the streets. We have sidewalks only on one side of the street also, which, it's a bad street, and the traffic, Bill can attest to this. I used to put
She was the first person, yeah, she was the first person to put the little pedestrian, little guy out in front of her house. She was the first one to ever do that in town.
Well, we do patrol the area heavily. You know, we do the best we can.
Yeah, Merrill Road's one of our heavy.
Always tell us that it's the residents that are speeding on the street, you know, it's not people from.
Well, that's another mayor story. We had a petition one time on one of the streets. I'm not gonna tell you which street it was, okay? It wasn't yours. Where the petition, everybody on the street signed a petition to have the police presence out there and write tickets. A week later, we got the phone calls, stop them, we're all getting tickets on the street, okay? So, think about that, okay? It's not strangers. Danielle, you have one?
I just wanted to make mention to everyone that we can continue to ask additional questions and make sure you take some notes because we are having a senior police academy in the spring. It'll be a 4-week series with community policing. Officer Wright has been in touch with us, so we have those dates planned. So any additional questions you have for our police department, you know, start writing some of those down because I think that's going to be a wonderful program. And I just want to say thank you once again for our collaboration and our partnership with EBPD and community policing and trafficking, and especially during COVID, and we had a lot of outdoor programs. So I just want to say a public thank you as well for helping us with the flow of traffic and keeping everyone safe when we are having outdoor programs. And we really look forward to having you for the Senior Police Academy too. So thank you. I just wanted to make mention of that.
Take care.
No other questions before we leave? We'll take one more. Go ahead.
What municipal office do I call regarding sidewalks in the neighborhood? I have to walk in the street because most of the sidewalks of my neighbors are, you know,
Right.
crazy. Last year, someone from the town came and spray painted all of the cracks, and the homeowners were supposed to fix them, and they didn't.
Follow up with the zoning officer.
Yeah, I was going to say engineering.
The zoning officer.
Yeah.
That's the office.
Okay. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.